Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee unanimously raised the benchmark interest rate, known as the monetary policy rate, to 15.5%. This is the third move in 2022 in a row in response to the inflation rate, which has continued to climb. CBN Governor Gordon Emefiele revealed this while reading the communique from the final meeting of, or rather, the second to the last meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee for this year.
The committee thus agreed unanimously to raise the policy rate, to narrow the negative real interest rate and narrow the interest rate gap, and rein in inflation. The committee thus voted unanimously to raise the MPR. 10 members voted to raise the MPR by 150 basis points, 1 by 100 basis points, and 1 by 50 basis points. 10 members voted to increase CRR by 500 basis points, while 2 members voted to increase it by 750 basis points. In summary, the MPC voted to 1. Raise the MPR to 15.5%, retain the asymmetric corridor at plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR, increase the cash reserve requirement ratio, CRR, to a minimum of 32.5%, and 4, retain the liquidity ratio.
All right, business analyst Chika Mbonu joins us to discuss further. Chika, good afternoon. I'm always telling you good morning. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You did predict there will be a rate hike, but you said 50 basis points is a little more.
So nothing to, everybody knew it was gonna go
up.
Yeah, the truth is that if you see the picture, I was looking at the picture of the Central Bank, the Bank of England governor,
Andrew Bailey.
You know, this is how it was. You know.
He looks stressed.
You know, every Central Bank governor, everybody's like this now.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was the Tories, who are the Conservatives and power in UK, the Tories accused him that he's sleeping on the job,
right? And
he let the inflation get out of the stable,
right?
And I guess the Central Bank of Nigeria also didn't want to.
Yeah, they want to have the same accusation
that they didn't let the horse out of the stable, or they're sleeping on the job, and they decided to go aggressive, which is what the Tories has been, wanted to happen.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing about economics is, if you do something and they say, why did you do it 1 year ago?
Yeah.
Because look at the background. During the COVID era, during the COVID period that started 2020, what happened was that production shut down.
Yep.
Supply chain shut down.
Yep.
And people were home. And most governments did what? What did they do? They tried to reflect the economy.
Yep.
And started putting money in the hands of people.
Yep.
A lot of people call it quantitative easing.
Correct. Yep.
Basically printing money.
Yep.
And putting in the hands of people. And so, and so you have a lot of people who have cash, but there was no production. So
exactly.
The quantum of goods that this cash should be chasing was the same.
Yeah.
And so it continued 2020, 2021. And even like the UK government, the Tories are saying that they should have stopped it, last year.
Yeah.
So it continued 2021. And so you had a lot of money chasing a few goods. And then with the onset, with the suspension of COVID, or with the COVID pattern, what happened is that the economy has not caught up. The growth has not caught up.
Yeah.
Look at aviation, for example, worldwide.
Oh, wow.
So many airlines are canceling flights because there is scarcity of pilots or even, other aviation staff.
Yeah.
So that's a worldwide phenomenon. And that's on the basis we said that Nigeria will not be exempt. For the UK, for example, inflation was at 9.9%.
40-year high.
40-year high.
Yeah.
Exchange rate was about 2.5%. And we're here crying for our own. You will see, therefore, that our own, we're almost getting a runaway inflation at 20.52%. And so they needed to do something to, pull the inflation back.
Yeah.
And that's why they went aggressive. Remember I said it here that what really does the central bank do? What tool do they have?
Yeah.
Money supply, managing money supply.
Yes.
Everything revolves around that. Managing money supply. And when you hear money supply, it means managing the quantum of naira in the system.
Yes.
And the quantity of naira in the system they manage is actually the quantity of naira in the banking system.
Right.
Because the efficacy of these tools also in Nigeria is reduced by the fact that there's a lot of informality in the banking system. A lot of people have money under their beds.
Yeah.
A lot of naira in their bags. And some people have moved the naira into dollars also.
Yeah.
And so you find therefore that CBN decided to do something aggressive so the inflation doesn't get run away. Inflation, remember, at 20.52, the previous monetary policy rate, which is the lead rate of interest rate in the economy, was at 14%. Still, for our viewers, that's like a negative real interest rate.
Yes.
Because it just means that if he had money at this speed, time 1, and then he hold it to time 2, the value would have reduced by the inflation factors,
right,
which is about 20.52.
Yeah.
Now, they must pay, for it to be a positive interest, the interest must be higher than the inflation factor.
Inflation rate,
Inflation rate. Otherwise, you're operating on the negative interest rate, real interest rate regime, which is what we're doing. So one of the major objectives, therefore, was to reduce the gap between the inflation rate, which was 20.52, and the monetary policy rate, in this case 14 before, which they moved aggressively by 150 basis points, which is like 1.5%, on top of 14 to make it 15.5.
Yeah.
So, drying up the impact of that immediately include the fact that, I'll come to cash reserve, include the fact that, one, being the base rate in the economy, it's expected, therefore, that depositors who put money in banks will reprice their deposits. Savings accounts, which is about 30% of MPR, will move to now, I think, 4.6 something. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, as I spoke to the treasurers, they said they even forget about lending because they need to, reset and check the impact of everything because of the combo of the dual action on the monetary policy rate and the cash reserve ratio. All those impact the lending rate. So all those all borrowers should therefore expect that interest rates will go up.
That's the impact on borrowing costs.
And borrowing costs.
Okay.
So our viewers should know that. If you borrow from a bank or you intend to borrow a bank, the borrowing level interest rates, the borrowing prices must going to go up. Or therefore, so the theory, as you hear the governors talk about regularly, is that if the interest rate is higher, it will discourage borrowing.
Right.
And so reduce the quantum of money out there that is not in the productive sector. Chasing the few goods that we have. And that will also, if we reduce that quantum of money, it will reduce the pressure on the foreign exchange. Because the money available now should actually chase the productive sector. Now, so that's one on the interest rate. The other thing is the cash reserve, the CRR.
In fact, before you get there, let's play the clip from the central bank governor, what he said on CRR. Let's take a listen to that.
We have increased the CRR, and we expect that this decision at this meeting must be seen to be potent and must achieve the effect that the MPC thinks it should achieve. This message is meant to underscore the fact that MPC says this decision, this very aggressive decision to rein in inflation must yield result. We do not want to face Nigerians in the next few months and we begin to take the blame for not being able to rein in inflation in spite of all the rates that we have raised. So we have decided to adopt a two-pronged approach. Increase MPR, so policy rates, so we want to see interest rates go up. And two, CRR going up because we must mop liquidity effectively out of the vaults of the banks.
Okay.
Your reaction?
Now, again, remember what I said. The theory is that, if you reduce liquidity in the system, what will happen is that the price of money, which is interest rate, will do what? Money will be scarce.
Yes.
And the price of money will not go up.
Yeah.
And therefore, the quantum of money, naira, chasing the few dollars that we have, we reduce. And only because the money will focus on the productive sectors of the economy. That's the belief.
Yeah.
Now, so CBN, the cash reserve ratio, for our viewers also, is a tool that CBN uses to manage money supply.
Yeah.
The quantum of naira in the system. So it talks about the fact that the banks are supposed to go out there and get deposits. So if a bank gets deposits of 100 naira into its vault system, if the CRR, cash reserve ratio, is 20%, it means that central bank will sterilize 20 naira, and the bank can only play around with 80 naira. So whereas banks are paying interest on the 100 naira, they can only lend on the 80 naira, subject to liquidity ratio or things. But let's not make it complex now.
Right.
Now, so what has happened now is that with this increase from 27.5, before now it's like if banks bring in 100 naira, CBN sterilizes it 27.5 naira.
Yeah.
Now the CBN has moved it to like 2.5 naira, a 5% increase.
Yeah.
So the banks will only have to play around about 68
or so.
67.5.
Okay, 67.5,
to play around with.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're paying interest on the 100 naira, remember. So effectively their cost of operation will increase.
Yeah.
Now, and the quantum of naira available to them to play around with, to lend, will also what? Reduce.
Yeah.
Again, the CBN objective. And they said, remember the word he used, that it has to be what? Potent.
Yes.
So the issue therefore, what will happen in the next 2 days, because the banks have been giving up to tomorrow
to fund their
the differential.
Yes.
The movement from 27.5
yes.
to 32.5. Now the CRR is an interesting one because of the fact that with the loan to deposit ratio initiative of the central bank and other special CRR arrangements that the central bank has used, tools they have used, a lot of the bank CRR have been above the 27.5 threshold.
Yeah.
Indeed, a lot of them moved over 27.5 into the 30s. But again, CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, in order to promote lending to the system, told banks that they can actually take the excess above the 27.5 in the CRR to lend out.
To the real economy.
To the real economy.
Yeah. Okay.
So a bank would therefore look and say, my money at CBN is earning for me 0.
Yeah.
But I can lend it to the real sector at 5% or 9%, and therefore and take the additional risk. So a lot of banks went for that and started doing that.
Yeah.
So what happened now is that most of them, they therefore had their CRL below this 32.5 threshold, who participated in the real sector lending. And so they have to immediately work between yesterday and today and to move fund their positions in central bank.
Yeah.
So there's no magic. There's nowhere they're going to go and look for customers.
Between that time.
Between that yesterday and today to get deposits into the system to cover their position in CBN. So what would they do? They're going to liquidate therefore their transactional treasury bills and bonds, discount them, that they're holding with CBN.
Chika, let's take a break. We're going to keep you, we want to keep the conversation going. So let's take a quick break. You're still watching the Global Business Report here on Horizon News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Global Business Report here on Horizon News. We're still talking monetary policy and the hike in the benchmark interest rate in Nigeria to 15.5%. Chika Mbonu, our Rise business analyst, is still with us. So Chika, your thoughts continue.
We're on the cash reserve
ratio, yes.
And I said, mark the CBN governor's words that the policy must be potent to achieve its objective. And said that all the banks must fund their accounts by Thursday, that's tomorrow. For the debt to take this debit to the incremental debit. So if anything that he said the minimum is at 2.5. That's a word.
Yeah, so minimum. That is a key.
So any excess that debiting on to this account of the bank must actually fund the accounts totally to be able to take this, at least a minimum of 5% increase from 27.5 to 2.5. And before I went on break, I was saying that it will be between yesterday and today and tomorrow.
Can't find the deposit.
You can't find the deposit from any customer. They enable you, provide that buffer required to accept taking that 5% incremental cash reserve ratio. So CBN, the governor, the treasurers have to go. The banks have to go to their reserves, go to their transactional treasury bills and bonds to discount them to cover these positions.
Wow.
You know, and of course, discarding them before maturity, of course, you know, they're going to lose income.
Yeah.
You know, and just enable CBN to achieve the debits. Again, what the impact is, again, it limits the ability of banks to lend money.
Yeah.
And they cannot lend money. That reduces the quantum of money in circulation, which is what Central Bank of Nigeria is trying to achieve.
Yeah.
You heard the play when he said they must fund the account for what? FX.
Yes.
Again, also, you know, this is also playing smart, because what it means that if you dry up the liquidity of the banks and they come for their bids, they may not have enough naira to back up their bids.
Yeah, for the FX.
So for the FX. And so their demand for FX will be not effective.
Yeah.
And CBN therefore will meet the demands that they brought to CBN. You know, and the show goes on.
The show goes on. Speaking of the show going on, airlines, I want to get your thoughts on the central bank governor's comments on saying the CBN...
They are not obliged. They are not obliged.
Let's play it. He actually, let's take a listen to what the CBN governor said on the airlines.
But it's important for me to say this up front on the airlines. The sector is a sector that had always enjoyed what we call priority allocation, whereas other, I use the word unimportant sectors, maybe you're importing finished goods, you're importing some items that we don't consider to be an item that contributes positively and in priority sector to the economy. Of course, you will observe that maybe they will get 10% or 15% at best. But for other sectors where they are priority, like the airlines, we've always granted them the kind of priority that they desire, because we know people want to travel and they don't want to be constrained by the need for them to travel. Yeah, in spite of this, we've seen that the number of travels or naira value of travels for tickets issued by the airlines has increased. And when the pressure was building aggressively, we decided to release the amount that you talked about $265 million. Now, will we? Yes, we will do everything possible, and we are determined to clear the backlog, and we will consistently at all the retail interventions. As long as the accounts of the banks are funded, we will continue to make the releases to ensure that the cumulative backlog is cleared. But I think it's important for me to say this, that the airlines or the foreign airlines are saying this because they said that we should respect the bilateral air services agreement that says that process of all their ticket sales must be repatriated to out of the country. It did not say that you must repatriate all your dollars through the central bank. There is no law that makes it compulsory that you must buy your dollars from the central bank. When you put your money in your account, what it means is that you tell your bank to buy you dollar. Your bank will go to the legitimate or approved sources, which in this case is the INA, to buy dollars and pay for your ticket sales process. If they don't find, yes, they may resort to the CBN, but it does not mean that the CBN is under compulsion to provide the dollars. Because it's good for me to say this so that people don't just rest on the conclusion, not as a conclusion, that the CBN is under compulsion to provide the dollars.
Chika,
your reaction to that? Lots of headlines from that press conference.
I mean, there's several things at play here.
Yeah.
But the first one I want to put out is that, do recall that the airlines gave the reason for moving the fares from Nigeria, especially Nigerian components, Naira components, up to the roof because they are not getting their dollars or their tickets remitted.
Yeah. And
our CBN, acted in good faith, and I didn't get them $265 million.
Yep.
Let me put it out there that these airlines are not reciprocated.
The fares are still high.
The fares are still up there.
Yeah.
So they have not responded to the CBN initiative or good side in pushing the fares down, so Nigerians can benefit from that. So I think maybe the governor doesn't know, hasn't heard that, or let him know that that's not happening. And the time we did, there's a program we did here that involved some aviation people, and one of the owners of the airline said that that the airlines are not, obligated to just go to CBN to get dollars.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to look for other sources, to get their dollars or remit their tickets. And that's what the CBN governor is selling. But let me let you know the economics here so you can understand what is at play. Now, the airlines price initially were pricing their tickets at CBN, the so-called CBN rate.
Yeah.
Okay? Or the rate agreed with the government or stuff like that. Now, and they had Naira for a long time. And so when the remittances were supposed to be made for them, they also wanted to make it at CBN rate. Now, if CBN says go and find your dollar,
it's going to be at a higher.
It's going to be at
higher rate.
The so-called market, black market rates or parallel market rates, and so they will lose value. That's for them. That's the economic issue here.
Yeah,
and that's what they're fighting. Now, the flip side of it also now is what? That they have marked their tickets to black market rates and almost double the price of the official rate.
Yeah.
And then they're still going back to CBN to remit at CBN rate. So you can see the reverse here.
Yeah,
so they're trying to make also profit. They change gain on the tickets, because they sold the ticket at lower FS rates. I want to remit at, so the higher FS rate, I want to remit at lower FS rate. So that's our play here.
Yeah.
And so they've been given the freedom to go and look for other sources. But it's simpler and less messy for them, to just put their money in Naira in the banks and then let them go to CBN and get the bids.
Get the bids for the dollars.
Whatever. So they're going to get, new jobs will be created now for people who are sourcing for FX for the airlines. Nigeria will print card now. I have FX for you. I have FX for you. But I must tell you, a lot of corporates have actually been meeting their FX needs outside the central bank.
All right, business analyst Chika. Well, Chika, we thank you so much for your time, for taking us through the MPC decision, and much more interesting matters ahead, and we'll have you to analyze them for us. Thank you so much.